Yeah, I mean, just call me see. I don't know if you heard me give the advice to Ryan yesterday or not. Especially after like a big play,
Yeah.
don't feel the need to jump in right away. Kind of let it breathe a little bit, but absolutely, give your take. This is as much about your opinion as it is about me. It's we work as a team, and I don't necessarily need to like say, well,
Right.
and lead you into something. You don't. I don't need to do that. You can just chime in. It's a freely flowing conversation. This is going to be a really dumb question, but you got to tell me: is it Juliana or Juliana?
Juliana.
Yeah.
That's okay. Everyone says a different word.
I want to say it right.
That's okay. Yeah. I did. We lost to Kings my freshman and sophomore year, and we won at Kings last year.
Right.
So that was a big win.
Absolutely. Then let's talk about it.
Okay.
And feel free to talk about those games if you remember anything specific about them. You can certainly feel free to give your Coming to you live from Finnie Stadium on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. Welcome inside our season opening coverage of Yellow Jacket women's soccer as Baldwin Wallace tonight plays host to cross-Cleveland rival but non-conference rival, the Case Western Reserve University Spartans. Alongside Juliana Rubin, I'm Brendan Gulick. Glad to have you on board tonight as Case comes to town. Spartans a good program, and they play in one of the most challenging conferences in the country. They enter tonight's game 3-1. BW 2-3 after getting off to a really nice start with a couple of wins. They have dropped each of their last 3 games, although been in each of those 3 contests. And the Jackets are looking to get back on the winning side of things. They've got a tough opponent tonight. Case is definitely a worthy team.
Definitely. Case has always been a tough game in the Yellow Jackets season. You know, going back to 2014, the Yellow Jackets lost against Case, and unfortunately they lost the following year. But last year, you know, was a big win for the Yellow Jackets when they traveled across town to Case, and they were able to pick up a win. You know, Rachel Bender had a great goal there that was able to really put the Yellow Jackets on the board. Yeah, and Rachel Bender is definitely, for more than just that game, but certainly because of that game, caught the eyes of the Case coaching staff. We talked with head coach Tiffany Crooks before the game, and she said, look, we really respect what Rachel can do, and we need to strengthen our back line tonight to try to keep her in check. Definitely. They've moved Mary Kate Ford back to try and battle Bender there. She is, you know, the Yellow Jackets' top man up there trying to get the goal in, so hopefully the Case defense is able to hold her off. Yeah, Bender's been really good, not just this year, but throughout her career. So has Alex. Case has a couple of pretty darn good goal scorers themselves. They're a little bit younger in some areas, but I think for the Spartans it's a little bit more about just trying to gel. Some of their veteran players have either transferred in or taken a year off from the program. At Case, it's a little bit of a different animal because it's such an academic-driven institution that sometimes when you introduce classes into the system, it can be a little bit more challenging. So the Spartans are still trying to gel a little bit, but I think this is a group that Tiffany Crooks really likes. Definitely, like you said, trying to gel. When you have players that not necessarily have played together for a while or even at all, it is difficult sometimes on the field to find that rhythm. Hopefully tonight the Spartans are able to find that and get some positive outcomes. Well, as we get ready for tonight's game, we did have a chance to visit with head coach Jim Woitkin, and so we will step aside for just a moment and turn it over to our pregame interview with those thoughts from Jim Woitkin. Our coverage of the Yellow Jackets continues this evening with a pregame conversation with head coach Jim Woitkin before Case comes to town in a short trek across Cleveland. Jim, first of all, it's your first home game as officially the head coach. What are kind of the butterflies or the thoughts that are running through your head?
I tell you, just being the head coach here and after being here for a while and stepping into the role is just exciting. You know, the fans here are great and the players are great, so it's just going to be one to just sit back and get ready to play a really tough team.
We've talked a lot before the season starts and through these first couple weeks about how much focus you put on developing a challenging non-conference schedule because you want the teams to be ready, you know, to go come OAC play. The Case plays in a really tough conference, and so they're usually a pretty seasoned team. What have you seen on film so far this year from Case that makes you think this is a good squad?
Case is going to be a challenge. They bring good pace. They're organized. They play through all thirds of the field. It's going to present a really good challenge. They have good goalkeeping. So for us to play, we have to play a near-perfect game. We need to follow our game plan, move the ball around, put them under pressure, not let them put us under pressure. If we do that, it'll be very entertaining, very competitive. But like you said, they play in a great conference in their season, and they've had a great start to their season. So for us to play, we have to do the things we do well, keep the ball on the ground, and isolate some players, and I think we'll be okay.
How about the beginning of the season so far for you? I know that you obviously got off to a good start, winning a tournament, first 2 games. Not good results in the last 3 games, but anything positive maybe that you can take away from those?
If we put the results aside and think about, well, except for some minor errors, we could be 4-1 instead of 2-3. I'm very pleased. We're playing some very good soccer. We're making some mistakes that cost us. These are things I think over time we can correct them before we get to conference play. But watching the women play and putting into the play our game plans that we're trying to implement, I think they're doing a very good job. They do good things. And again, we're having a slight miss here, a slight miss there that cost us a little bit, maybe defensively, and we're not finding the back of the net, but we're putting ourselves in a position to find the back of the net. So once those things start falling and some slight misses, we'll have some really good successes. We're on the verge. We're on the verge of being a very, very good team.
Well, a couple players that have not necessarily had a problem finding the back of the net are the same two players we thought in the pregame, or I should say the preseason, would play well for you. Rachel Bender and Alex Elliott. I don't want to keep beating a dead horse here, but they continue to be the catalyst of your offense. Does it concern you that those two players are such a focal point, or do you think it motivates everybody?
I think it creates more depth. I think they're special players in front of the goal, and they see and they understand that part of the game. But if you look at it, we've had other people step up at the Barron tournament, and Kenna Poptic scored a goal, Cass Wakeman scored a goal. We had a defender, Corey Miller, scored a goal. We've had several people that have contributed to that. And I think given where we're at and the fact that they are going to draw a lot of attention, it's going to free some things up for other people to step up and do things. Once we get that discovered, and once we realize that the other players will step up in that role, it's going to make Bender and Elliott significantly more dangerous.
In the preseason, sometimes it's difficult to answer this question because you're playing against yourself so frequently, or just a couple scrimmages here and there. But now that you're 5 games in, has anybody pleasantly surprised you?
I think we're seeing some really good work out of our freshmen. I think Josie Fan out of the Pittsburgh area stepped up and done well. She brings an energy, brings a little bit of a bite that we need to the team, some grit. Kenna Stones has shown the same thing, and she's done really well. Bella Zemansky as well. But on the returning players, I think Corey Miller, Lauren Hainham have stepped up, and they're filling their roles. They're functioning like seniors should function, stepping up into the leadership role, not necessarily verbal, not necessarily as captains, but taking the team on their shoulders and doing good things. So it's fun to see all those players step up and do good things.
Case is a pretty young team this season. Most of their impact players are underclassmen, but a couple of upperclassmen. How much of an emphasis are you putting on controlling the midfield in a game where you're playing against a young team?
Well, I think you can throw their age out. They're a well-coached team. They're a very organized team. So put where their class rank is aside, they're going to be a tough test. So for us, we have to control all the thirds of the field. Their forwards will run at us, so our back line has to be compact. Our midfield has to be aggressive and active. Have to understand where their players are at all times, and we need to keep our game contained and not stretched out. And our forward line has to get after them. Again, they're very organized in the back line, highly organized and defensive in that regard, and they keep a shape that's going to be tough to break down. So, again, I discount the fact that they might be young on paper because they're not young, and you look at them on the field.
Good luck and enjoy the evening.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Brendan.
All right. We'll have more pregame when we come back in just a moment on BWYellowJackets.com. That's our pregame conversation with Jim Woitkin here tonight as the Yellow Jackets and Spartans get ready to tangle in the first home game of the season for Baldwin Wallace. Give you a quick look at the starting lineups before tonight's national anthem. First for BW, Emma Bruno is in goal, where she has certainly made a home over the last couple of years. Across the back line from left to right, Lauren Hainham, Bree Osborne, Jenny Burdick, and Josie Fenn. Lauren Hainham definitely one of the vets in that group. Kenna Stones and Cassandra Wakeman, along with Alex Elliott, will play in the midfield. Corey Miller, Kenna Poptic, and Rachel Bender play up top. For the Case Western Reserve University Spartans, Lauren Unterborn is their goalie. She's the only one healthy, by the way. Keep that in mind as the game progresses. Across their back line, it is a strong defense for Case from left to right. Nia Chimalavagu plays the left back. Melanie Crusit, Gabby Kiefer, and Mary Kate Ford from left to right. Then they go into the rest of the formation. I suppose I should specify they play a 4-1-4-1. So their holding midfielder is Anna Petropoulos. Then it's Emily Dickens, El Zadina, Kimberly Chen, and Abby DeSico with Melanie Kakura up at the top of the formation. Yellow Jackets and Spartans are being introduced to everybody here inside George Finnie Stadium on a cloudy, overcast day, but actually temperature-wise, it's been pretty comfortable. Humidity has definitely gone away after, I would say, maybe an unseasonably warm afternoon. It was kind of nice. It's been a little cooler lately, but a little warmer today. Felt good. All right. Since the introductions are just about done, we'll step aside for the national anthem, but when we come back, we'll have the opening kick. Baldwin Wallace and Case coming up next on BWYellowJackets.com. All right, we're ready to go inside George Finnie Stadium as the Jackets and Spartans have taken the field, although admittedly a couple of Case players have run over to the bench for whatever reason. The officials are meeting with the captains at midfield for a coin toss, and I admit that I thought that was already taken care of, but what the heck. So never mind on the immediate start. In the meantime, wanted to ask you, Juliana, what your keys to the game were.
You know, keys to the game, like we heard Coach Whitekin say earlier for the Yellow Jackets, is definitely going to be keeping the ball on the ground, trying to keep possession. You know, the Yellow Jackets have sometimes struggled in the past with playing through that midfield and finding, you know, the easy pass on the ground rather than, you know, crossing it over the top or in the air through balls. So definitely not forcing it, finding the simple passes on the ground. For the Spartans, like we said earlier, it's definitely going to be holding off Bender and Elliott. So the Spartans, if they have a strong defense, that'll be the key to their game.
You know, we went through the starting lineups rather quickly, but probably should have mentioned that BW has a slightly different starting lineup look than what we're used to seeing. Courtney Schutt's not out there.
Right. Courtney has started 4 of the past 5 games. She's previously started almost every game in the past. She's a strong veteran, so not seeing her on the field, tactical change perhaps to try and get the job done as they've struggled the past 2 games. Another important key player to note not in the lineup is Anna Popdick, out with a concussion that she unfortunately got in the Oberlin game, so she hasn't played the past 2 games, so they'll definitely be missing her on the field tonight.
We'll have to keep our eye on what her sister Kenna Popdick can do.
Definitely.
Jackets in white. They'll have brown numbers on the back of those uniforms with the yellow and brown on the front up top. Pretty sharp-looking jerseys. Case, a little bit more simple, but certainly easier to see. Navy tops, silver shorts. Melanie Kakura standing at midfield, and she will get us started here in just a moment. Nice to finally be back home. Baldwin Wallace playing the first 5 games of the season on the road, but they are looking forward to playing here on their home turf, and we are off and going inside George Finnie Stadium at Tressel Field. I should say the whole name of it. Kenna Stones playing it off to the left-hand side. You know, the other thing that head coach of the Spartans, Tiffany Crooks, mentioned to me before the game was that the playing surface here at BW is a little different than what they're used to playing on at Case. She said sometimes it can be hard to play possession-based soccer on this surface because it's really quick. As Haynham plays it all the way across, chased after by Corey Miller. Kept it in play.
That's a great ball there by Corey Miller to the midfield, trying to find someone to take it there. Luckily, Alex Elliott was there to grab that.
Case definitely respects what BW has in their attacking third, but that being said, the Spartans are not going to play strictly from a counterattack perspective. They want to try and possess the ball and have some build-up on the offensive end. Everybody just has to do their job individually, and Tiffany Crook said, you know, it's just one of those things where you get a group together that you know is talented and can play, and at times they've looked really good, and at other times you can just see they're still trying to figure each other out. It's not necessarily inexperience. It's just not a cohesive experience yet. That looked like it could be a real chance for Rachel Bender, but rolled away from her foot, and Lauren Unterborn from Case picked it up in goal. All right, Alex Elliott with the captain's armband on. Looks over toward her goal-scoring teammate Rachel Bender. Here comes Case up the near side. Emily Dickens. Back to El Zadina. Emma Bruno over to get it.
Yeah, that was a good idea by the Case midfielder. Just couldn't get someone on the end of it.
Let's talk about Emma Bruno for a second, because for any team to have stretches of success, certainly it starts with being able to stop, you know, other teams defensively, and you've got to have a keeper that you can rely on.
Definitely. You know, Emma Bruno is definitely a key to Yellow Jackets' success. Coming in as a freshman, starting last year, won the job over Sophie Widener, who's also a great goalkeeper for the Yellow Jackets. But Emma Bruno went ahead, she won the job, and, you know, she really takes control in that back lineup. She definitely is vocal, and she understands the game. She understands where players need to be.
Bender did a good job racing after it, but a nice play by Unterborn coming out to grab it. Sustained pressure from Baldwin Wallace with Elliott in the middle. Rolls it toward Bender, but it's popped away. Good job on defense there from Chima Lavagu. And the foul whistled against the Yellow Jackets. Didn't mean to cut you off there. I mean, again, I think Bruno at times has definitely shone brightly. Ball gets deep into BW's defensive end. If there's an area where you think Emma Bruno is working on to improve, what do you think that is?
Emma Bruno it's pretty solid all around. Her distribution is top of the line. And for a small keeper, or for a keeper her size, I should say, she does a great job of really commanding her box and getting the ball in the air. I mean, areas to work on as a keeper, you always have areas to work on, maybe some shot blocking coming out. But other than that, I mean, Bruno is really solid all around, and there's always room to improve everywhere.
Elliott trying to come after an open ball in the middle. Teammates came to her aid. Alex is down right now in the midfield, and they will whistle for a stoppage in play for a moment. 40 minutes, 57 seconds left. We're just over 4 minutes in, and Elliott will need some attention. She got tangled up, and it looked like she kind of banged her shin against one of the Spartans, and she took the tough end of the blow. So hopefully she's okay, gets back to her feet under her own power. You mentioned Emma Bruno's size, and isn't that kind of the first thing a casual fan who might see BW soccer for the first time, you see Emma in goal, and you might think to yourself, well, she's a little smaller than a typical keeper, but you're right, she does so many other things well. She can kind of make up for her lack of size.
Definitely. And the key, especially when you're a keeper her size, is to have that confidence and control, which Emma Bruno definitely has. Her teammates respect her and they trust her, which is most important, especially being a keeper of that size.
Nice to see Alex Elliott come off the field under her own power. And the Yellow Jackets, at the moment, will play down a player. She's receiving attention on the far side. Waiting for just a moment.
Brendan, Alex Elliott is a key to the Yellow Jacket offense, so hopefully it's nothing too severe and she's able to get back in the game, because that would definitely make a struggle for the Yellow Jackets they would have to overcome in this game.
Yeah, there's no doubt they need her out on the field. See what kind of action Case can come up with while BW plays down a player. It's developing quickly. Dickens strikes, and she just misses the far right side of the cage. That didn't take long before the Spartans went flying up the field, and Dickens nearly put Case on top 1-0 5 minutes in.
Now, that was the first true offense we've seen from the Spartans so far this game. So what we can see from that so far is definitely that they move quickly down the field, which is something that the Yellow Jackets are going to have to prepare for. Lauren Hanum running back on that defense to get there. She's going to have to do that a lot this game.
Definitely puts a little more pressure on the back line and on the midfielders, most especially Wakeman and Stones, who are playing a little bit more retreated. Rolled ahead by the holding mid, Anna Metropolis. Corey Miller tries to control it. It's off the Spartans, out of bounds. Elliott did return, by the way, so back at full strength. She needed just an extra minute or two to get herself ready to go. Throw in came her direction. Case, of course, they're local in Cleveland, and so these two teams play each other almost every year, but they are not conference opponents. Spartans play in the University Athletic Association against, in my opinion, and I think some people would share this nationwide, one of, if not the best, Division III women's soccer conference in the country. I mean, it's almost unbelievable every year how many teams are nationally ranked, and deservedly so, from the UAA. And right now, the #1 team in the country, the Washington University Bears, from Washington U in St. Louis. They are a member of the UAA. This one ripped at Bruno, and she can't quite get her paw on it. It hit the post. Wow, Case nearly put one in from about 30 yards away. That came off Kimberly Chen's foot. It's a great look. Spartans have a throw incoming. DeSico lets it go. Falls straight down, and the defense comes to the aid. Other teams in the UAA that are always impressive. University of Chicago right now, they actually have received a couple of first place votes nationally, but they are currently third in the country. You can always count on NYU to have a pretty good team. Right now they're not ranked in the top 25, but usually pretty good. Carnegie Mellon and Emory both in the top 25 in the country. They're both excellent programs. Emory University down in Atlanta. Case trying to mount something with Dickens. Low left foot, and she put it right into the teeth of the defense. That was cleared away pretty well. Rachel Bender's hardly gotten the ball at her feet with any space so far in the first 8 minutes of the game. A ball that's freed. Bruno was charging out. Bree Osborne clears it away. And right now it's the Spartans that have their foot on the gas pedal consistently here. Played into the middle. Haynum and Bruno both over there, and it's Bruno that picks it up.
Definitely Spartans here, full force, trying to get a goal here early on in the game. The Yellow Jackets definitely are going to have to work on that back line, that defense. They're doing a pretty good job right now, but definitely manning up, getting those balls that are played, not necessarily to feet, but picking those up.
36 minutes, 35 seconds left in the first half. So we are in the 9th minute of play. Haynum got beat. And the whistle blows, a free kick coming after Cassandra Wakeman commits the foul. Free kick will be taken by Petropoulos. She boots a strong kick into the middle of the box. One hops just over the top of the bar. Bruno was all over it too. And a goal kick coming. You know, I mentioned Washington University. I think you could make a pretty strong argument. Tiffany Crooks had a big smile on her face before the game when I brought this up to her. In 2014, Case hosted Wash U when they were one of the top couple teams in the country. And in double overtime, one of Case's seniors, Jessie Sabers, scored her second goal of the game, and they beat Washington University 2-1. Tiffany will still tell you it was one of the happiest days of her life. It jogged up some fun memories before the game. That was a really good Case squad. But just to reiterate how strong that conference is, in the 5 games in conference after they beat one of the top couple teams in the nation, they went 0-4-1 the rest of the season and missed a chance to play in the conference tournament. Just because you never get a break in the UAA. And so that's one of the reasons why Jim Woitkin schedules a team like Case. On top of the fact that they're local, they're always tested.
Definitely, you know, Case is always a strong opponent, whether it's here at George Finney or we travel across town over to Case. They definitely are always strong. It always gets us ready to play OACs.
Yeah, DeSanto Field just got a makeover. They got some new turf here in the offseason. Throw-in going on the far side stays with the Spartans. Of course, DeSanto Field home to Case's soccer and football teams. In the corner, a chance for Zadina. And another throw-in. It's a really nice facility over at Case. It's kind of compact because they're a little bit landlocked with all of the hospitals and other buildings that are right over there. As a corner kick gets lined up for the Spartans, but it creates a pretty fun atmosphere with a lot of the dorms surrounding the field. If you haven't been over there, certainly encourage you to go check it out at some point. Case puts on a nice show.
Definitely, having played there, you know, it's a great atmosphere with all the students coming around watching, like you said, surrounded by dorms. It's definitely a nice place to play.
Wish I had a dorm like that in college.
Yeah.
34 minutes and counting here in the first half. Corner kick is sent low into the box. A real chance for Chen. She didn't get a good look on it, and the second chance is over the top of the bar. Spartans retreat, but not after a really good effort. Petropolis the one to send it a little too tall. So far, the Yellow Jackets do not have a shot on goal or otherwise here in the opening 12 minutes. They have been able to avoid a couple of early game offensive pressure situations from the Spartans. And you have to think it won't be long before Rachel Bender and Alex Elliott start finding some space. But so far the Spartans are executing a little bit better on the defensive end. Throw in coming for BW. Jim Whitkin sitting on the end of the bench is communicating with the head official. He kind of gave him a thumbs up as he was talking about the ball that was just thrown out of bounds. This ball played over for Bender. If you don't know Jim, you're missing out on a chance to meet just one of the best people you're ever going to be around, let alone soccer coach. He is such a wonderful guy and a great leader for this program. Of course, he's been around the Jackets for much longer than just being the head coach here of late. Rachel Bender had a chance at it, overran it. Cursit helps get away. But he's excited to be playing in his, or I should say coaching, in his first game here at home as the head coach. Probably feels a little bit different than as the lead assistant the last few years. And of course, for those maybe not familiar with the program, the Yellow Jackets had a shared head coach. Reed Ayers, who coaches the men's team, was also the head coach of the women's program for a long time, and now has stepped aside to just focus on the men's job, and Jim takes over as the head women's coach. This is his first season in doing so. But a lot of the players were recruited by Coach Whitkin, so in terms of a philosophy, there's not a whole lot different there. Maybe a few things here and there.
Jim is definitely great with the girls. He definitely knows how to connect with them, work with them, speak with them. Like you said, he recruited many of them. He recruited myself when I was playing, so he understands the game and he understands the idea of playing on the ground and possession. Definitely a great fit for this team.
Looking forward to the future of this program for sure. El Zadina to send it in from the left corner. This is the second Spartan corner kick of the game. We are almost 14 full minutes in. Zadina with the right foot. Hainham knocks it out. Finally, Bender with the ball at her feet has something to do. As the defense tries to sprint back, it's Mary Kate Ford. Great through ball played over. Corey Miller is there, and she was taken down with no whistle. Boy, Miller and Bender had something cooking, and it just didn't manifest into a goal. Good effort here from Bree Osborne, reinitiating. Bender with a cross that was partially deflected, and it became an easy play for Unterborn. Good work by Melanie Cursit defensively. We've played for a quarter hour. No score, but some chances. Maybe another one here with Kenna Stones hovering over the ball. Bender is laying back. Stones will have a throw in.
That was a great attack by the Yellow Jackets, able to get that from the corner kick and up the field into their offensive third, which is definitely something they work on in practice.
Throw in controlled for a moment. On the back line, Wakeman gave it away. Elliott likes to let it go from outside the box. Corey Miller racing after it. She's over there along with Gabby Kiefer. Consistent pressure here from BW. And it will be a Yellow Jacket throw-in in the corner. Corey Miller to take it. Kind of Stones. Splits two defenders. Crosses low into the middle. It's cleared away. Nice pass. How will it help Case mount something offensively? No, not quickly enough as Josie Fenn sends it away. Melanie Kakura and Abby DeSico were playing up that far side for the Spartans. 28 minutes, 30 seconds left in the opening half. Each team with their starters still out there. Oh, great move in the middle. Looking even further inside for Zadina. DeSico plays back to Dickens. Instead, it was her teammate Petropoulos stepping in front right as Dickens was about to receive the pass. Petropoulos sent it over the top of the bar. She is not afraid to let it go from a long way away. Done that a couple of times tonight. Alex Elliott at midfield. And the Jackets got called for a foul. A perfect fall evening. You can feel it. You can almost smell the fall. And when you open your eyes and you look at the tops of the trees as the ball rolls through and Bruno lets it go across the end line, you can even see some of the changing of the color. It is starting to look like fall a little bit in Northeast Ohio, especially the trees in the south end zone right on Bagley Road. They are starting to look like a bright yellow. And all of a sudden, it's no longer summer at Baldwin Wallace. Haynham plays toward the middle. Corey Miller puts it down. Nice job by Wakeman. Their pass was maybe a little bit behind Kenna Stones. Let's touch to the far side. Josie Fenn wins a corner kick.
That build up there in the middle, that is key to the Yellow Jacket game, seeing them pass the ball around, like Coach Whitekin was saying earlier. Definitely getting the ball on the ground, passes, possession, those are the keys to the game.
Kenna Poptic, Corey Miller in the corner. It's Poptic that'll take it right in front of the big BW Soccer windscreen. Into the middle. It's a dangerous spot, and on one hop, Unterborn grabs it. May have ricocheted off a Spartan. I don't think anybody for BW got a real clean look at it. Foul whistled against Case. You brought up the midfield. I think so far, the way this game is shaken out, I'm interested in your perspective, but the first 20 minutes, I think the Spartans have definitely owned the midfield.
I would agree, Brendan. I would definitely agree with that. The Spartans have taken control of the game a little bit more. They've had more possession than the Yellow Jackets, but as we saw with the Yellow Jackets passing that through the midfield, working it up into the offensive third, the game will be won in the midfield, I believe.
It was a long pass, but didn't connect. That stays in bounds. Good effort from Zadina. Bruno has to come after it. Throw in for BW. You know, the other young lady we haven't seen up front for the Yellow Jackets today so far. I realize it's early in the game, but junior forward Marissa Fabrizi has also at times been a really good attacking player. We mentioned that Courtney Schutz is not in the lineup. Fabrizi is also not out there, but factors to play into the game at some point. Good job by Wakeman as she held off Ellie Zadina. Spartan throw in coming with 24:10 and counting left on the first half clock. If you joined us a little bit late, I'm Brendan Gulick along with former Yellow Jacket Juliana Rubin. Glad to have you on board for the first home game of the season. Bruno had one popped her way, and she goes up and grabs it. Zadina, nice through ball up ahead to DeSico. Actually, check that. That's Kakura. She lays off to Zadina, who wants to let it rip. It's deflected away, and a corner kick coming. A late recovery, but a recovery nonetheless on the defensive line.
Like we said earlier, that's that midfield. Can our defensive mids, Cass Wakeman and Kenna Stones, control that portion of the field? Can they step up to that so that shot doesn't happen?
Petropoulos to send it in. Into the backside of the box. Just a little bit over DeSico's head. And it turns into a Rachel Bender fast break. She's almost waiting for her teammates to catch up. Look how aware the Spartans are of Bender. That's about as well as you can defend her. Throw-in came quickly to Stones. Back to Bender. Lofts it high toward the goal. It hits off the top of the bar. What intended to be a pass nearly turned into a long-distance chip shot goal. That would have been back-breaking for Case. Chimilavagu heads it forward, but right to the foot of Kenna Stones. That one rolled too far out of Bender's reach. So we've seen Rachel Bender get going a couple of times on those fast breaks, right, where the ball ricocheted off a defender and everybody else was back behind her on defense. But you can't necessarily count on that. If you're Baldwin Wallace here, from a strategic standpoint, what are you trying to do to get Rachel going?
You know, right now the Spartans are shutting Rachel down. They're defending well, as they should. Tiffany Crooks definitely prepared for that. To get Rachel going, I think the key is going to be those passes on the ground, finding those through balls, which might be a little bit difficult because the defense is prepared. But if they can get the ball past that back line on the ground, that'll be key, as well as if they're able to get those crosses in over the top into the middle, where we have seen some key plays develop. Looks like Courtney Schutz just subbed in for Kenna Poptic.
Well, we'll see what kind of veteran leadership Schutz can bring here to the last 20 minutes, perhaps, of this first half. We are still looking for our first goal. Had a couple of close calls. Case is out shooting BW 5-2, but technically 0 shots on goal for Case Western Reserve. The referee was about to wave in another sub. He didn't realize that it was actually Poptic, who was just standing over there talking with Coach. In the meantime, Baldwin Wallace with some good pressure. They bring up a corner kick situation. Set pieces can certainly make or break it for you. Schutz will take it from the corner. Got a really strong leg. A low corner deflected into the middle. Elliott's there, but the Spartans got on it. Here's Stones touching it away. And a nice clearance by the Spartans. That was a nice veteran play by Mary Kate Ford defensively. Even though she's only a sophomore, young lady from Silver Spring, Maryland, did the right thing. Send the ball out of bounds and give your defense a chance to reset. And now another corner kick coming. Well, it may not have been the magical start BW had hoped for, but they've certainly gathered some chances of late. Maybe this is the one. Stone's got her forehead on it and send it just a little high and wide. That was BW's best corner kick of the game so far. Two new Case Spartans coming in. Lizzie Barna, a freshman midfielder, and Jennifer Markley, a sophomore midfielder, both checking in. Let's see, they are going to replace, looks like Kim Chen and Melanie Kakura. Nice job by Bree Osborne stepping in front. Barna, a young lady from Irving, Texas. Stones looking ahead, shoots with some fresh legs. Can't get there before Melanie Crusit does. Bender pressures her, and it goes with BW. We're at the 18-15 mark of the first half. Baldwin Wallace looking for the game's first goal. Hanem rolls it back. Shoots looking for some space to send it in. Can't create it herself, so she'll throw this one in. Hanem with a lot on it to the back post, and Corey Miller heads it too far down. And the ball just rolls away after it was hardly deflected. Maggie Tima, the junior forward from North Royalton High School. She went to Broadview Heights, or I should say she's from Broadview Heights, but went to North Royalton High School. She checks in. Emily Dickens from Naperville heads off the field. Miller with the ball at her feet for just a second. Out of bounds, far side off of DeSico. In the corner. And the Spartans just keep using the out of bounds to their advantage. Miller sends it into the middle, looking for Elliott. Corey Miller has another chance. This time, it's Bender. Taps it over, shoots with the ball still at her feet. Can feel it mounting for BW. They just can't pull the trigger quickly enough.
Yeah, Shoots couldn't quite get the ball off quick enough there, but that is a good look for BW.
I didn't see Jenny Burdick check in, the senior midfielder for BW, but she's in there now, and she's playing fairly deep in the formation. In fact, she's playing more of a defensive position, even though she's typically a midfielder. Bender. That's an easy foul call. You know what? I think Burdick started the game, and I just didn't notice it because we haven't said her name very much. I apologize for that. Hanem, Osborne, and Fenn have done most of the touches, but Burdick got involved there defensively for a moment.
Burdick is a senior. She's definitely a veteran on the team, been here the whole time. You know, very involved, definitely a leader back there. Maybe a quiet leader, not so much vocal, but definitely leads by example, hard worker. Hasn't really started all that much her years here, but looks like she's going to be starting the majority of these games as they've kind of groomed her to be that center back.
Stones tried to take a chance from pretty deep, but missed it off to the right. Another sub here as Case brings Mary Kate Ford off of the field and replaces her with freshman defender Bailey George, young lady from Loveland, Ohio. Goal kick coming. Tonight's Yellow Jacket women's soccer game is brought to you by Dan Andrews and Olympic Forest Products, a global recycling company. By Domino's Pizza in Berea. Call us at 440-891-0030, or you can order online at domino's.com. And by the Ohio Education Credit Union. Gain the advantage. Build your future today. .32nd minute of action. BW and Case still scoreless in a early season non-conference affair, but it certainly matters for regional rankings. Spartans send it toward the box, and on the second effort, when it was thrown back, nobody there waiting. Not a great clear that time, and it gives a little space for Tima, and it rolls out of bounds.
Great tackle there by Lauren Hanem to push that ball out of bounds. Give her team a chance to take a breath maybe regroup here and see what they can do to get the ball out of their defensive third.
Certainly using the sideline to her advantage as freshman Emily Hauser checks in for Case, and she replaces DeSico. Nice ball played ahead for Bender. In stride, she keeps it in bounds for a moment, and it will stay that way. Bender rolls it toward Corey Miller. Back to Rachel Bender, still at her feet. Centering pass was off target, but it becomes a corner kick. Gotta love the work rate from Bender, sprinting up the field and keeping that ball in play.
That was a great play there by Courtney Schutz as well. Coming back for the ball as she was up top, she came back and was able to make that pass to Rachel, who was so desperately sprinting up the field.
Schutz will take it from the corner. It's a low corner kick. Open space in the top of the box, but slipped through, and the opportunity falls by the wayside. Burdick pressed up a little bit. It slipped behind her. Osborne back on the near side. Schutz trying to use her size to her advantage and hold off Chimolavagu. That's definitely a mismatch that favors BW. Haynham plays a nice ball forward. Corey Miller was there, but so was Lauren Underborn.
Great play by Underborn to come out there and have the confidence to catch that ball a little bit off her line. You know, could have bounced over, but she was there. She was confident. She grabbed it.
Well, confidence is the key word, because if you don't attack that kind of a play, it will bite you. You have to come out and confidently go after it and be decisive in wanting to go get that ball. If you even hesitate just a little bit, you're in trouble. Elliott battling with Petropoulos, out of bounds. Just over 11 minutes remaining in our first half. BW and Case deadlocked in a 0-0 affair. Bruno picks it up. This game almost has the feeling that our men's game had last night, where an early BW goal gave them some cushion. On the men's side, BW was playing a non-conference game against Allegheny. It ended up going right down to the wire, and it did not favor BW. The Yellow Jackets had a 2-2 tie, thought they were going to overtime, and I'm not exaggerating. There were 4 seconds left on the clock, and took a game that BW largely controlled right out of their fingertips as the Gators left Berea with a 3-2 win. A couple of new faces coming on here. Marissa Fabrizi, we mentioned her earlier. She's just checked on. And Case will check in Angelina Batty, the junior defender from Dayton. Both teams definitely going deeper into their bench here in the first half with under 10 minutes to go. BW and Case trying to see who can draw first blood. Shoots, passes into the middle where Elliott was a little too far away from the ball to come at it.
You mentioned going deeper into the bench. That is a strength for the Yellow Jackets, as Coach Whitekin said earlier. Their freshmen are talented. They do have a lot of depth on this Yellow Jacket team, and it is pretty spread out between freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. So depth is something that will help them this season.
Good work in that far corner for Breezy, trying to keep it in bounds. She does. Cassandra Wakeman over there helped out. And it's cleared away nicely. Boy, I'll tell you what, after the first few minutes of the game where the Spartans largely controlled possession, it's been BW that's kind of swung the time of possession in their favor. They've definitely had the better chances, although Case has had a couple of corner kicks. But they haven't really been able to put too many dangerous looks together. And again, 0 shots on goal sort of tells you the story. even though they've had 3 corner kicks, it's frustrating for the Spartans that when they have gotten the ball down in the offensive third, not much no high probability shots have really come from it.
I think what you can see there, though, from the Spartans is that they are playing a little bit defensively to counter BW's offensive line, and that when the Spartans are making a run at the goal, it's relatively quickly. It happens very fast. They're not down there for a while building play, which just goes back to their defensive tactic that they're using tonight, which has worked so far as the score is still 0-0.
For sure. Morgan Gray, the freshman defender, comes in. Jenny Burdick earns a well-deserved rest. Stones fell down, but as the ball goes out, it's still BW's possession. Haynham will throw in. Right back to Lauren Haynham. She'll set it up. Over Fabrizi's head. Throw-in came quickly. Fabrizi into the middle.
Great look there by Fabrizi.
Yeah, it sure was, and Stones controlled it nicely. Everybody is pressed ahead for BW as Bender can't quite keep it in bounds. They had 9 of their 11 players on the offensive half of the field, and most of them in the offensive third. Bender tried to win one away. 6:49 and counting left in the opening half. BW and Case are scoreless, but the tension is starting to mount a little bit. Meanwhile, as the young ladies that are on the field now did last night for the men's team, the Yellow Jacket men's soccer team is sitting, I guess, with sideline passes out there supporting their fellow classmates. Nice to see them out there tonight. Up the near side, a chance for Angelina Batty. Good close. Batty still possesses. Boy, that was very well done. Textbook defense.
Great defense there by Bree Osborne, sprinting back to get there and then staying with it to get that ball out of bounds.
Another one sent in low. Spartans have to figure out a different way to go about it. Instead, Courtney Schutz picks off a pass. Alex Elliott didn't really have it going full throttle. And as she pulled up, she's got to work it over to Haynham. Lauren Haynham pressing up. Nia Chimolavagu. Boy, she's done a nice job defensively, either limiting Rachel Bender or just pestering somebody else who's coming up the side. I think this is a good substitution here for Jim Whitekin as he pulls Alex Elliott off the field here for the last 5 minutes and change and brings on freshman Kayla Webb. Elliott didn't look like she was at her 100% best. Rachel Bender with a great chance, and it rips off the top of the bar. Oh, Bender almost had a terrific goal.
And that's what the Yellow Jackets need to do more. You know, they had the ball on the ground. They're able to find Rachel's feet, and Rachel's able to get one off. It looks like she might not be able to get some goals off her breakaway game tonight as they're defending her pretty hard. But like we said earlier, if they're able to pass the ball, find feet, they'll be able to get some shots.
That could have been an early season highlight goal that might stand up as one of the best of the year if Bender could have just tucked that one a little bit lower. Too bad. Case survives a big scare here late in the first half. Spartans playing it deep into their own defense where Crusoe has to run after it.
Good effort there by Fabrizi.
Under 4 minutes to play as the Yellow Jackets will throw in on that far side. Mentioned Melanie Crusoe. She's a graduate student and a defender for the Spartans, but a young lady that's been a part of that program for a long time. She actually played her freshman year in 2013. Maybe this could be a special goal. BW starting to develop, and Fabrizi just misses. So close.
That was freshman Kayla Webb right there around the penalty mark, it looked like. Couldn't quite get the shot off, but she was able to find one of her teammates. You know, if Webb is able to play more and get a little bit more experience, she's a player that could definitely be dangerous in that area moving forward in the season.
It was really good teamwork in kind of a tight area for everybody to stay poised and controlled. And it almost resulted in a great goal as Bender goes high up into the air and pulled that one down. Case has hardly had anything strung together the last 15 minutes on the offensive end. They're not even stringing passes together successfully as the offside flag goes up. Just to finish that thought a minute ago on Melanie Crusit, she played in a couple of games her freshman year, 2013. And then as a sophomore, she made 18 starts back in the 2014 season, but has not been with the program or has otherwise taken a couple of years off, and as a graduate student is playing in her third season of competition. So she's been away from the program for a little bit, but boy, she sure has been good when she's been out there. Tiffany Crooks said she's been a welcome addition back to that defensive back line. Ellie Zadina leaves the field, replaced here late in the half by Megan Masterson. 1:43 remaining here in this first half. Rachel Bender just flat out wanted the ball more, so she stole it away from three Spartans. Case clears it into the midfield. Angelina Batty had it knocked away. 1:20 and counting in the first half. BW with under a minute to go. Good work from Kayla Webb. Here comes a corner kick. We're at 50 seconds and everybody kicks it into another gear knowing they're running out of time. We'll see if Courtney Schutz puts more air under this. She's had a lot of low corners coming into the box. Fabrizi over there too. Schutz, high corner. Leaping effort. Just out of Stones' reach. Out of bounds with 20 seconds remaining in the first period. A furious race to the finish. Bender quickly throws it in. 10 seconds to go. And it's whacked out of bounds. That will effectively end play here in the opening half. Baldwin Wallace and Case have played a pretty entertaining game so far, but no goals to speak of. I think both teams are recognizing the offensive weapons on the other side, and they've both done enough, but I don't know. I'm interested in your opinion. I think right now BW has probably played a slightly better game so far.
Yeah, BW was looking a little rough to start as the Spartans were able to get some more offensive plays going early on. They were moving quickly and efficiently, but they couldn't quite get a goal. BW was able to quickly adapt, and it looks like BW has controlled the majority of this half. But like I said, the Spartans, when they do get going, they move quickly, but the Spartans have been able to shut down the BW offense, especially Rachel Bender. She only really had that one look. I mean, it was a great look, but that's all we've seen from her so far this night. So the Spartans definitely strategically stacking their back, definitely stopping Bender in the offensive line. It should be interesting what both teams do going into the second half if they're going to try and make a little bit more offensive moves up top.
Tonight's BW soccer game brought to you by the Oswald Company. They handle all of your insurance and risk management needs. By Medical Mutual of Ohio, the official healthcare provider of Baldwin Wallace University. And by the Comfort Inn in Middleburg Heights, where your comfort is just a part of the service we provide our guests. It's halftime at George Finnie Stadium. Baldwin Wallace 0, Case 0. Second half action coming your way in less than 10 minutes here on BWYellowJackets.com. Time to start the second half as Baldwin Wallace and Case are tangled in a scoreless affair, although it certainly has been an entertaining one. Alongside Juliana Rubin, I'm Brendan Gulick. Let's take a look at some keys to the second half. We'll start on the visiting side with Case. They were playing a lot of defense, kind of on their heels a little bit. Reacted well, I thought, kicking the ball out of bounds instead of putting themselves in some awkward spots. But what do you think they need to do to start generating some of that momentum?
I think Case needs to continue that defensive line in the back. They're doing a great job there, shutting down Rachel Bender, Alex Elliott, Courtney Schutz, who came on towards the end of the first half. They're doing a great job of that, but you can't win games without scoring goals, unfortunately. So they need to look to counter quickly. They did so in the first half. They were able to get up the field rather quickly, look to put some behind Emma Bruno, though they didn't quite succeed. But again, I think the key for Case is going to be getting up the field quickly and catching BW off guard.
Well, they certainly haven't had anything sustained since maybe the opening 10, maybe 15 minutes of that first half, when the Spartans definitely had the upper hand. But once BW kind of figured things out in the midfield, really, is where they started to play better, and it just translated into some offensive opportunities. That's when they started seeing much more of the possession. But neither team scored in that first half, and so really we're playing from an even playing field at this point. 7 shots, 1 on goal for BW. 5 shots, none on goal for Case, and I don't think they took a shot in the last 20 minutes of that first half. Played into the middle where Alex Elliott was patiently waiting. Turns into Kim Chen in the midfield. She lost her footing. Rolls that one out. Lauren Hainham races after. Bree Osborne over there to help out too. All right, we've talked about Case. How about the BW side? What's it going to take for them to finally break through and put one in?
We saw Rachel Bender get that great look towards the end of the first half. So it's definitely getting the ball on the ground, keeping it on the ground, finding feet in the open space for BW's offensive players, even some midfielders, to take those shots. Cass Wakeman definitely has the ability to hit one from outside. We definitely see Rachel Bender and Alex Elliott do it all the time, even Courtney Schutz. So if they're able to take a look from the outside, the 18 perhaps, finding some space, that'll be a key. We did see some dangerous crosses as well. It looks like Case may not be as technically sound in the air. Those were a couple moments where we thought BW could score, so maybe some crosses in from the outside in the 6-yard box that might be difficult for the Case goalkeeper as well as the defense could be a key for BW to win this game.
In reference to some of BW's low passes from either in the flank or on corner kicks, get to that in just a second here. Oh, okay, BW takes possession back. Do you think it was by design that, for example, Courtney Schutz was taking really low corner kicks in, or do you think that was maybe just not executed, the way she had hoped?
Brendan, that's a great question. BW practices their corner kicks religiously. They study sheets. They have marks where every player is supposed to stand offensively, defensively. We often see them take short corner kicks. That's why we sometimes see looks like Corey Miller, who will go and stand on the ball with whoever the kicker is. So it's tough to say whether Schutz is unfortunately unable to get those off tonight, or if that's defensively, because if they're able to find the feet of someone, they're able to turn quick and make a shot, that could be an opportunity for them to score as well. So it's tough to see. Maybe perhaps it was Schutz unable to get it off as the last corner kick was in the air. But it looks like Josie Fenn was able to make a run here to Corey Miller up the field as BW moves into their offensive third.
That was good creativity from Kenna Stones. She hasn't necessarily done a lot today that'll show up in a stat sheet, but boy, she's had a really solid game all the way around. Been very impressed with Kenna Stones so far. Freshman midfielder who is playing in her first career game on her home turf.
Yeah, Stones is definitely standing out. We heard that the BW freshmen are fairly talented, but I think Stones is making a name for herself here at George Finney tonight.
Abby DeSico rolls it to the far side. Wakeman got in the way. Crucett rolls it up to Petropoulos. Part of this 4-1-4-1 formation that we see from the Case Spartans. Here's a dangerous play. Abby DeSico is open, and she just misses left. When you give Abby DeSico some space, kind of have to hold your breath. She's already got a goal on the year, and she does not usually hesitate when she gets that open opportunity.
We have seen a few looks from Case, and of those that we've seen, the majority of them have been in the air, which could be challenging to sophomore goalkeeper Emma Bruno, but it looks like they've been either wide or Bruno's been able to get her hands on that. So we'll look to see what Case can do going forward.
Played out to the far corner, chipped back into the middle, headed toward Bruno, and she decides to stay at home and let it play out. A Spartan corner kick coming. Looks like it might be Petropolis to take it. Sure is. Everybody trying to get situated. Here it comes. Top of the box, good idea. Not well executed. Rachel Bender, who is just so fast, comes on and closes down on this ball, and it turns into a great chance. Bender is on sides. Corey Miller pressing up. Plays it to Rachel. Oh, the flag went up. I have to admit, I was not watching the backside of that play once Corey Miller dribbled it toward the midfield, so I can't tell you if I agree with the call or not, but I know for certain that Bender had run back onside before Miller had taken off to the midfield. Either way, it's a tough break against BW.
But that's where Rachel Bender's speed will help put BW ahead. We were able to see her sprint up the field, watch that play develop. If her team is there with her, that's a dangerous opportunity for BW.
Hanem. Kim Chen. Oh, good spin move, clearing a little space. But a better job there by Jenny Burdick defensively. Now Hanem is challenged with Emily Dickens on the far side. Dickens forced to play it up top. This is Zadina. Good tackle by Wakeman. The referee says play on, and it becomes a goal kick. 7 minutes into the second half. It's moving quickly. Baldwin Wallace and Case still deadlocked, no score. Emma Bruno for BW. Looking for Miller. It'll be a Baldwin Wallace throw-in. Great move up top. But Melanie Kakura needed a little bit more help. And instead, it ruins the quick momentum that Case had there just for 1 second. Bender runs around the defense. Good idea on the through ball. Miller stopped it at her feet. Chucks it across the field, and Shima Lavagu was there. Here come the Spartans, stymied quickly. Another great play by Kenna Stones. Back to Stones with a Spartan right on her tail. I don't think she could feel it, and she turns the ball over as Burdick tries to play defense. Everybody else needs to get back with Kakura. Well done.
Great play by Jenny Burdick, able to hold her off there. Didn't really have her team back with her, but she was able to stand her up and win the ball.
Case has an advantage here, 5-on-4, and Miller just threw one into the middle. Wasn't anybody waiting. Petropolis rolls it far side. Abby DeSico. 9 minutes into the second half. DeSico able to get by Fenn for a moment. And then Josie Finn kicks it out of bounds. Good play by the freshman defender. DeSico lobs it high in the air, and nobody pressured Bruno at all. BW and Case still scoreless. Really haven't had much in the way of big shots here so far in the second half for either team.
That was a good flick by Elliott there in the midfield. Kind of Stone's unable to get to it, but BW has regained possession.
Yeah, Stone's a big part of that. She puts a one-hopper at Lauren Unterborn, but handled okay. BW has a few more non-conference games ahead of them before they'll get into the teeth of the OAC in October. Great move here by Melanie Kakura, but she lost her balance and just kind of flicked that one out of bounds. The Jackets will not play at home again until Saturday, September 23rd. And they play the Defiance Yellow Jackets. Back-to-back non-conference games in the meantime at Bluffton and at Hiram, two programs that have really struggled the last couple years, and those should be games that BW can start in favor. Bluffton and Hiram have not had particularly good teams. That's not to say they haven't played okay this year, but those are, on paper, pretty winnable games for BW as it gets knocked out of bounds.
But even more than wins, those games are good for BW because it allows some of the freshmen to get some playing time, get the team to learn a little bit more about each other before they go into OAC games. It looks like Marissa Fabrizi just subbed on for Courtney Schutz.
Yeah, and there are 5 new players for Case that have come in. They have substituted here in mass. We'll try to bring them all to you. I know Maggie Tima is on the field. Bailey George is checked in. Let's see. Jennifer Markley has come onto the field. Zadina, Chen, and DeSico all checked out. Maggie Tima, Lizzie Barna, Jennifer Markley all in. Emily Hauser is in for Emily Dickens. There should be one more Spartan sub. There is. Mary Kate Ford has left. Bailey George comes on. So Case subs half their group off the field with just a little over half an hour remaining. Can Rachel Bender take advantage of this free run with Corey Miller coming in? Fabrizi on the backside. It's Bender with a great look to the back post. A small collision, but it's picked up by Unterborn. That's exactly where you want to play that ball.
That was a great cross there by Rachel Bender. Marissa Fabrizi, she's a great scrappy player. She's always in the right place at the right time. She's a hard worker, and that's the kind of goal that we typically see her score, you know, sprinting up to catch that cross. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to connect that time, but that will be definitely some dangerous activity for BW moving forward.
Melanie Kakura has not been able to get in a rhythm at all at her center forward spot. And now the Jackets trying to force a 3-on-3 with Bender in the middle. Alex Elliott takes a shot from a long way away. It was too centrally hit right at the net. 31:50 remaining in the game. So we've played for just about an hour. No score between BW and Case. Elliott down again in the midfield.
The referee almost getting in the way of that play there before Elliott went down.
He was fortunate to sidestep the ball and maybe better than that, not get tackled. Certainly by accident, but still could have been a tough break. Fenn, right foots it ahead. Good pass to the far side. Fabrizi with some options. Can't get by Chimolavagu, who's been really good defensively. Probably the best defensive player tonight for Case. over there on the left outside back.
Case's whole back line has been playing pretty well, able to shut down BW's offensive line. But like you said, Chima Lavagu is definitely standing out in that back offensive line.
Another throw in for the Lady Yellow Jackets. Breezy tried to cross it into the middle, and Chima Lavagu was there, but still earns herself a corner kick. Set pieces can be critical in tie games, especially late in the second half. Still a lot of time to go, but these are the kinds of plays where you can really develop the way you want at the outset here. BW positions themselves the way they've planned. Corey Miller sends it in. Tipped high up into the air. Stones is there. Rolled away. Case escapes again. That was BW's 7th corner kick. And they are 0 for 7 in converting them. Josie Fenn will throw in. Bender controls it. Good pressure from Petropolis.
Great turn by Kenna Stones there to switch the field.
Fabrizi was tackled, no foul call. Must have gotten most ball. Elliott closing down, and she's able to intercept it in the midfield. BW still with a tactical disadvantage, 3-on-4, but rather than taking it herself, Elliott tried to throw it to the outside. Didn't work. Fenn helps over in the middle. Burdick was there. That ball accidentally hit off of Petropolis' arm. I think some would be asking for a handball, but the right decision was made not to blow the whistle there. Corey Miller wins the duel. Sends it forward to Bender. Usually able to blow by the defense, but Crucett is right there to match her. Great play. Still alive with Stones back to Bender. Stones has a chance, and Crucett comes in again. Maybe Crucett heard me say that Chima Lavagu was the best defender for Case so far. She's certainly making her case too. This game is starting to feel like it's a game of runs, extremes, back and forth. There's not a lot of possession in the midfield. The first 18 minutes of this second half have largely been played in either team's offensive third.
I think both teams realize that it's very important that they can get a goal right here and sustain it. So they're both probably pushing for that right now, and then might play defensively for the rest of the game if they're able to get the go-ahead.
Chance here for Lizzie Barna. And Petropolis with a lead foot, and it would bounce off a little too firmly over to Emma Bruno. You know, the other thing, though, and maybe you can speak to this from your playing experience, when you're constantly playing a game where you're either on the attack or you're holding your breath because someone else is coming right down your throat, it makes the game a little bit more emotional, and I would imagine a little tougher to stay within yourself, no?
Definitely, it makes the game more emotional. More importantly, it makes the game more tiring, which then leads to that mental break, what are the words? Mental strength. You know,
Okay.
If your mentality starts to break down, then you do become emotional. You might make tackles that aren't in the best parts of the field. But I think having those extremes, I think the players are going to have to realize that while those extremes are necessary sometimes to score goals, they're going to get tired all too quickly. And we still have 26 minutes left to play in this game. So going back to playing it on the ground, finding feet, possession, that might be the way to go to save those legs for the rest of the game.
Well, I think to your point, there's been a lot of bodies falling to the turf here in the second half. It's getting awfully physical. Touched away a couple of times. Jennifer Markley has it for a moment with her back to the net. And when I say physical, I don't mean dirty. It's not like either team is playing in a an unsportsmanlike fashion, but It's just becoming a more physically taxing game, and that can also lead to making mistakes in really bad spots. So you've got to be careful.
And we talked about that mentality. These are crosstown rivals, so a point at this game, you have to start thinking that it really starts to hit these players that, you know, they can't lose to one another, and they might start to make those tackles, a lot of bodies hitting the ground.
Petropolis to take the corner kick. We are in the 65th minute. Long, high kick to the backside, and it rolls out of bounds off Chimolavagu for a goal kick for BW. Here come two new substitutions, one for either team. Kayla Webb checking in. Ellie Zadina leaves the field. I think she's replaced by, actually, you know what? It was a different number. I beg your pardon. I did not catch it. Who came in for Case? We'll let you know in just a second when we get the update. Meanwhile, it is still a scoreless game. Oh, okay. That's why I had a little brain lapse. Zadina came back in. It was Lizzie Barta that was running off the field. So Zadina is back out there, one of the two captains, along with her classmate, Chimolavagu. And Cassandra Wakeman leaves the field. Bella Szymanski has checked in. It is her first action of the night. You can feel the tension rising a little bit here on a cool fall evening in the middle of September. Two crosstown rivals playing for a big result in the region, even though they're not conference foes. This game has a lot of meaning for both teams if you're talking about NCAA playoff opportunities. Into the middle and deflected away for a goal kick. If you don't win your conference tournament, you need to come up with some really solid wins in your region to be considered for the NCAA tournament in the postseason. And Baldwin Wallace and Case both recognize the importance of this game in that regard. As Corey Miller chests it back toward the middle. That was well done. Fenn needs a little bit of help. Tima. Play to the far side. A big chance right in the middle, and it was struck too high. That was a great look for the Spartans. Just didn't go in, but they were knocking on the door.
Right, that was a great look for the Spartans. Tima running outside that left side of the field, going a little wide. Dangerous. No one from BW was there to defend her, and she was able to put that cross in. If the Spartans are able to do that more, they might make BW have to defend a little bit harder and get one on the board.
I didn't see at first which Spartan it was. Emily Hauser was the one that put the ball just over the top of the bar. It deflected off of the football field goal, but of course that's out of bounds. Both above and behind the back of the soccer net. Fenn pressing up. Miscommunicated with Miller. That one rolls out, and it's a goal kick. 22 minutes remaining. Case and BW fighting, trying to figure out which team can put one in. At this point, neither team wants to finish this game in a tie, but we could potentially be thinking about that in an overtime scenario. Of course, there's no stoppage time in college soccer, but they would have an overtime period where usually in the run of play and most international rules, there are no penalty kicks unless you're playing in an elimination game of a tournament. Better string of passes there from Case. And still Bender almost came away with a great ball. Kakura was marked pretty well by Bree Osborne as Osborne stifles Case's attack. Leanna Rubin, I'm Brendan Gulick. If you joined us a little bit late, the Spartans and Yellow Jackets have played an entertaining affair, but neither team has put one in. Baldwin Wallace is out shooting Case in that first half. I should say they outshot Case in the first half, but the Spartans have evened it up at 8 apiece now for the game in total. BW only one second half shot. It was on goal. Into the middle. Fenn let that one dribble over her head. Tima, not really a great angle. On paper, statistically, even. Almost seems fitting that we would be tied, but as a soccer fan, you kind of wish for more balls to actually go in. That's okay. The beauty of the game sometimes is the back and forth defensive strategy. Substitution coming shortly. One for both teams. Kayla Webb waiting to check back in as Alex Elliott shoots one ahead into the midfield. I believe that's Kim Chen who's about to check in. And we get a foul on this side. No yellow card warning. Petropoulos toward the top of the box. Nice defense. Burdick got her foot in there, but it turns into an open kick. A little surprised that it was so rapidly struck by Gabby Kiefer. So Chen returns for Case, and Kayla Webb is back on the field for Baldwin Wallace as Alex Elliott checks out. You probably more than I do. She doesn't seem to be herself tonight. Maybe just not quite at 100%.
Yeah, Alex definitely seems to be a little off tonight. Sometimes players might not be 100%. We don't always know what's going on, but definitely Elliott doesn't seem to be at the top of her game, unfortunately, though the rest of her team is trying to help her out. Perhaps these past couple of games have gotten to her mentally.
Well, sure, and again, that's not to say that she's been ineffective. Alex is still a really critical part for BW's offense, and she's still gotten in there tonight, but too many passes for her that, in my opinion, have gone long distances and not connected, and it's been costly as Kayla Webb tries to pick up and help her out a little bit. Webb with an opening in the middle, lays it off. Big chance here for Hainum. And the left-footed shot was stuffed by Chimolavagu. Stones lets it go. Too tall.
Going back to Elliott, like you said, she might not have been at the top of her game, but nonetheless, seeing her getting back on defense, taking some shots. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to get one on the board.
Well-deserved rest for Corey Miller as freshman Olivia Muldoon, who went to high school 500 feet perhaps from this stadium at Berea Mid-Park High School, which is quite literally just over the top of the visiting stands on the far side. Yellow Jackets are glad to have her as she makes her home debut here this evening. Just over 15 minutes remaining in regulation tonight. Baldwin Wallace and Case tied, no score.
The Yellow Jackets have quite a few players from just across the parking lot from Berea Mid-Park. As
Rachel Bender just missed it wide left. From 35 yards away, she took an awfully aggressive aim. You don't blame her. Just a little bit outside.
Yeah, great look by Rachel Bender. Going back, as we have sophomore Angelica Ray, also from Berea Mid-Park, and I believe the men's team has at least 3 players from over there as well. So their talent comes and makes Berea and Baldwin Wallace even more talented.
Danny Ruppel, who was the OAC Freshman of the Year on the men's team last year, and a critical piece up front. Oh boy, here comes a foul and a stoppage. Clock stops at 15:51. I have to admit, with the referee's reaction, I thought he was going to issue a yellow card, and he does. It was a little bit of a late booking, but nevertheless a card given to Olivia Muldoon.
I'm not sure if you were able to see it or not, though, but you see her help her up there.
She
That
did.
Just goes to show that we do have some good sportsmanship. You know, Coach Whitekin definitely grooming the girls well, making a tackle, but nonetheless being a team player.
She certainly showed good sportsmanship, but she did not go for the ball. As Petropoulos goes over, and hold on a second. Okay, so the ball went into the net, and Case is not particularly happy, but the referee didn't blow the whistle. Some were ready, others were not. And what could have arguably been a goal with the clock stopped at 15:29, what could have been a goal for the Spartans has become waved off. Now, the officials here are going to gather on the near sideline, and I think they're just trying to figure out where to reset the clock because a little extra time had been ticked off. That's exactly what's going to happen as our official runs to the far sideline, and he will, I imagine, oh, no, I beg your pardon. They'll leave it there. Okay. Petropoulos tries this one again, plays it more toward her teammates, and it's headed away by Osborne.
Great ball there by Petropoulos right into the middle of both the Spartans and BW. Unfortunately, no one was able to get a header on it.
I mean, geez, that's one of those plays. If you're a Spartan fan, you can't help but be a little frustrated. If you're a Yellow Jacket fan, you're kind of holding your breath because admittedly I didn't hear a whistle, but I wasn't really paying attention for the whistle. It was more, looking at the ball as it was struck in the air. The referee did not signal for play to start, though, and so Case's ball being put in the net, waved off. A corner kick here. Good team defense. Bender into the open field. She'll come up on it. Four on four if Webb can press ahead. She gives to Bender on the outside. Muldoon and Fabrizi in the middle. Webb coming up two. Bender being given some respect. Hard cross into the top of the box. Footed down for just a moment. Szymanski, no. Muldoon almost had a wide open look. Fenn back toward the top of the key.
Fenn there maybe had a little bit more time than she might have thought. Could have been able to play a ball maybe over the top.
Oh, Case got really caught on their heels there. Very passive. Now a chance for Bender as she is sprinting toward the net. Bender with a chance, struck a shot into a defender. Chima Lavagu stopped it. Hainum had it popped up into the air. You can hear the BW and Case faithful both sitting on this side of the stadium. Each team's fan base frantically chanting, feeling the tension of the moment. Morgan Gray and Courtney Schutz return, as does Abby DeSico for Case. Less than 13 minutes to go in regulation, and we still don't have a score.
This is where it starts to get exciting, Brendan. Both teams are going to start to press heavily to try and get a goal. But, they also are playing defensive, so they may not press at all. And they might just stick to that 0-0 and hope to get one in overtime, which I assume both teams would not like to play it.
You never know. Nice job switching sides of the field for Case. Webb helped draw that one free. Played ahead toward Schutz. It's jarred back toward Fenn. Bender is asking for it to go to the corner. But she didn't go too hard after it. She tried to protect herself on that high ball knocked out of bounds. 12 minutes to go in the game. Szymanski into the middle. And now Case has an opportunity. BW's defense is back, but a dead sprint for Zadina, and way too much on it as she tried to lead her teammate Kakura up top. That will frustrate the Spartans coaching staff. It's the right idea, but not well executed. Meanwhile, Schutz heads it out to Fabrizi, but she's got Chimolavagu right on her tail. And Nia Chimolavagu has pretty much put on a clinic defensively tonight, along with Melanie Crusit. I think you're really understanding why those two are leaders for this Spartan squad. Tiffany Crooks and her assistants sitting on the bench. Jim Whitekin and his assistants nervously standing with their arms folded across the way. We are under 11 minutes remaining. On the free kick, Hainham into a dangerous spot, headed toward the middle, and it's kicked in the net. Baldwin Wallace finally scores first. I believe it's Stones who put it in. Actually, it's Kayla Webb who put it in. Boy, all the young ladies on the field kind of flocked over to Stones. I thought she was the one that scored, but it deflected off of Webb, and the Jackets finally score in the 79th minute. Stones credited for the assist.
That was a great set piece by BW. Like we said earlier, BW practices corner kicks. They practice set pieces. They always want to be prepared. You know, they have key moments of the game that they talk about. The girls are forced to memorize, and set pieces are definitely one of them. Lauren Hainham on the ball was able to put in a beautiful cross that kind of Stones was able to get a header on, and Webb was able to finish it, and BW's on the board.
Chen did not strike that one the way she drew it up. Again, I think it's worth noting, though I don't mean it in a negative way, another reason why you point out that Kayla Webb, who came into the game to replace Alex Elliott tonight, who has been slightly less effective, Webb now leaves the field. Elliott comes back on. That's a great substitution by Jim Whitekin. Now Elliott maybe a little bit more rested. We'll see how the last 9.5 minutes, if she can lock in defensively and help BW preserve a 1-0 lead here at home.
We might begin to see some more subs from the Yellow Jackets as they try and put in some fresh legs and just hammer down the back and play defensive for the rest of the game, so hopefully they can walk away with this win. Case will start to press, assuming that they want to get on the board and walk away with a win.
This has been a great game. It's kind of incredible that only one goal has been scored. Both teams have had plenty of looks. 9 minutes to go in regulation. Baldwin Wallace has dropped 3 games in a row after a 2-0 start. A win today gets them back at 500, and it's probably their best win of the year if they can hang on. It's at 3-1. Has played well in non-conference, but this would be one of their bigger early season tests as well. Not a whole lot of left and right movement there from Abby DeSico. She just kind of drove right at BW's midfielder. And here's where Rachel Bender already has her eyes upfield. Plays it ahead. Courtney Schutz can just kind of hold it in the corner if she wants and play keep away. Instead, rolls to Bender. Rachel with the right foot. It's right on the money, and it's just over Elliott's head. What a ball.
Elliott couldn't quite connect, but she was definitely able to get there. Great build-up between Bender, Schutz, and Elliott. Yellow Jackets are hungry for more after that first one.
That was a textbook cross. In the middle, Schutz Turns and lets it go with her left foot wide of the right post. You're right, there hasn't been any letback here on the BW offensive side. Hainham a little over aggressive, and it cost her there. Got a corner kick coming. Just under 7 minutes to go in regulation. Baldwin Wallace 1, Case nothing on a 79th minute goal from Kayla Webb. The freshman from Brunswick in her first home game of her career. An assist to Kenna Stones, another freshman who's played as well as anybody on the field tonight. But will it be enough? Spartans with another set piece and another corner kick coming. This is their 9th corner kick of the game.
Both teams an abundance of corner kicks this evening.
Yeah, they sure have. None of them have resulted in goals, though. This is a great ball played in. Chimalabagu had some space for a moment on the backside. Wow, she craftily got around Morgan Gray, and the rest of the defense stepped up. You can hear the BW fans applauding here underneath us. 5.5 minutes to go as the Jackets try to hang on for a win at home.
The Spartans' whole bench up on their feet. The Yellow Jackets, the majority of their bench on their feet. It's an exciting end to the game.
Headed toward the middle. BW trying to get it out of the way. Petropoulos had it deflected on the way to the net. Elliott helps stifle the offensive onslaught. That one was hit from way out. A real chance, and Bruno's able to make the stop. Heartbreaking for Case. They almost got a huge benefit on that ball being partially deflected. That could have been the game-tying goal. Instead, Kimberly Chen, 4.5 minutes to play. Case has to put one in, and Chen let it go. She was looking for the upper 90.
That was a great play, though, by Emma Bruno. Stayed on her line, didn't come out. You know, other goalkeepers might have come out on that, but she kind of saw where the ball was going, knew that Case was on it. She stayed back, was able to collect it easily.
BW makes a substitution here late in the game with the lead, so the clock stops with 4:20, and now it rolls. Bella Szymanski has come off. Cassandra Wakeman back on. Yellow Jackets looking for their first win since September 2nd. It's been about a week and a half, but they have dropped 3 in a row in that stretch at Oberlin, against Rutgers Newark, and at Buffalo State. Rolled ahead with under 4 minutes to play. And it's out of bounds off of Courtney Schutz. Do the Spartans have any late magic? Play to the far side. Wakeman clamping down defensively. Nice move by DeSico to get free. And a good recovery helps slow things up with 3:13 and counting. Headed into the middle off of a Spartan and then headed away by BW. Nice clear. And the Jackets can breathe for just a moment. Under 3 minutes to go. Elliott just watched Bender go after it. Rachel Bender and Kimberly Chen Collided pretty hard. Bender still down, but she pops up slowly. Sweaty palms time inside George Finnie Stadium. Everybody hanging on each second that slowly ticks away as the Jackets look for a big non-conference win against Case.
Case starting to press here as they become frantic to get one with 2 minutes left in the game.
Nicely done by Bree Osborne. Using the sideline as her friend. Played ahead, but nobody for BW really interested in getting up after it. High in the air from Lauren Unterborn. And the ball deflects off of Case's Ellie Zadina. It hit her right hand. 133 and counting. Hainum looking for Rachel Bender. Good defense. 1:15 and counting. Case has to go. Krusitz sends it ahead. Back to Elliott in the middle. Chimalovagu lofts it into the air.
BW just trying to keep it out of their defensive third here as we count down with a minute left.
55 seconds on the clock. A chance for Case. And a good look. A right-footed shot well wide of the net from Abby DeSico. And that is going to kill a lot of time here late. Emma Bruno does not have to hurry. 34 seconds and counting. Bruno off Chimalovagu's head. 25 seconds to play. Hainum with a high kick out of bounds. That's going to help kill some time. Case throws it in. Hainum knocks it out. Less than 10 seconds to go.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
There's the final horn. In her freshman home debut, Kayla Webb and her classmate Kenna Stones, the heroes tonight. Baldwin Wallace knocks off Case 1-0 in a thrilling game. Another chapter of this fun rivalry between two crosstown teams. Yellow Jackets with the win go to 3-3. Case falls to 3-2 with the loss. It was not an easy game for either team. The Yellow Jackets probably in some ways feel fortunate to leave with the win. I'm sure Case a little frustrated the way that one kind of played out late. But both teams had chances throughout the games, and it was the Jackets that finally put one in.
Both teams definitely battled throughout the entire first half. The Spartans came out pretty strong. BW was able to adapt and counter them. Definitely battled in the second half. It was all about who wanted it more, and looks like the Yellow Jackets were able to get one in the net, and the Spartans just couldn't get it done tonight. But both teams playing well. Case's defense was definitely notable, shutting down almost Rachel Bender and Alex Elliott entirely.
Our next broadcast of Yellow Jacket women's soccer is about 10 days away on September 23rd when the Defiance Yellow Jackets come to town. It's a doubleheader. The men's team will also play Defiance. They will play after the ladies, a 4:30 game on the ladies' side, and then a 7 o'clock game for the men. Our next broadcast of BW Athletics is this upcoming Saturday, 2 o'clock, and it's the first home football game of the season as Baldwin Wallace takes on their crosstown rival, John Carroll. A 2 o'clock kickoff will have pregame coverage starting at 1:45. Fun win for the Yellow Jackets. The ladies earned it tonight, a 1-0 decision over the Case Spartans. For Juliana Rubin, I'm Brendan Gulick. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Again, your final score, Baldwin Wallace 1, Case 0. Have a great night, everybody.